This is J. Krishnamurti's discussion with teachers at Brockwood Park, 1970.
I thought we should meet, with the consent of you all, that we should regularly meet and discuss, talk over together the problems of living together as a community. It's not only a school here with students studying academically, but also we want, at least that's what we started out with, a group of people from outside as well who will be seriously interested in going to the human mind, inquiring into all the human problems, not merely intellectual, but actually observe them and resolve them. So we thought we'd meet now before the school begins and find out what it means to cooperate. If you're all willing. It seems to me that's one of the most difficult things with a group of people who are living together in a limited space, being constantly in contact with it physically with each other. And not create friction, not to go off at a tangent, not be committed, but seriously committed to any particular form of belief or activity, but see what it means to live cooperatively together. Shall we discuss that a little bit? Shall we? Won't you be more comfortable there? An empty seat. Would that be all right? Shall we discuss that? Because in that is involved authority. In that is involved forming groups for or against, and being against accuse others of being authoritarian, and so on. Could we go into this question, what it means to cooperate, without losing one's own integrity, if one has it, one's own perceptive understanding, without losing one's own honesty, could we discuss this? Here we are, willy-nilly, whether we like it or not, it happens to be we are here. Cooperation means, doesn't it, working together. Not for something, but the feeling of working together. The working for something comes or arises from the feeling of working together. to have the feeling of working together first and then working together for something. I don't know if you understand. The two things are quite separate, aren't they? We can cooperate in doing something together for an end, for a purpose, for an ideal, for an utopia, for something or other. But that comes little later when we have understood what it means to cooperate. I don't know if am I making myself clear? Yeah. What does it mean to have the spirit of cooperation, the understanding of cooperation, which is divorced from authority, purpose, personal like and dislike, the feeling of cooperating. Won't you join me in this?
Do you mean that if we have the feeling of cooperation, then the purpose will become clear?
No, first, see, if I have the feeling, the understanding, the spirit of cooperation, then you and I can say we'll work together for that. Then your personal inclinations, your personal prejudices will be set aside. Mm-hmm. You won't lose your personal integrity, your honesty. You won't pretend that you are working for that. I don't know if, right? Is this clear? Surely this is fairly simple, isn't it? I have a feeling of cooperation. Mm-hmm. Then we can get together and say, what is it we want to cooperate about?
Yes.
But without the feeling of cooperation, mere discussion or saying we'll work together for something soon becomes contradictory and antagonistic. Right? Doesn't it? Huh? No? You seem to be at a loss over this simple thing.
It's usually the other way around.
Huh?
It's usually the other way around. You decide on something you want to do together and you become friends afterwards.
Afterwards. No, here I'm proposing, we are saying quite the opposite.
Yes.
Because if I have the feeling of cooperation, basically, then I won't project my personal tendency in saying I can't work with you. You follow?
It's very difficult to follow.
Oh.
Because I don't see, it seems awfully difficult to feel that one's got a basic feeling of cooperation.
After all, that all human existence,
without knowing all the other people what they want or anything.
No, that isn't the point. It's one of the basic necessities of any civilized man to feel cooperative.
Also to feel non-cooperative.
Wait, first, that later on you will decide when not to cooperate.
To start with the cooperative.
Of course, I mean...
it's rather a difficult word.
No, cooperation. You know what it means to work together. I looked up in the dictionary, the shorter, enlarged, that word.
But I mean, to have a basic feeling...
Wait, let me explain. Let me explain before you jump on me. to work together. It means cooperation, means to work together. How can I work together with you or with another if I haven't the spirit of cooperation? Spirit of saying, let's do, feeling, you follow? That is, after all, the whole human structure is based on cooperation. Only there is fear, authority, compulsion, and self-seeking, secure, and so on, so on. No? What we are saying is, here we are, a body of people. Can we have the spirit of cooperation, not about what, but the feeling of cooperating? No? Well, let it seem so. Here we are. You're cooking, I'm talking, somebody else is gardening, somebody else is putting the house, and so on, so on. In this, there is no superior and inferior, right? There is no status. Huh?
But isn't there a common purpose in that?
Wait, I don't want to introduce purpose yet. You're missing my point.
Isn't that?
You see, the moment you introduce a purpose, then that purpose must be agreed upon by all of us. Then you'll say, I don't like that purpose, or I like that purpose. Then if we reduce it to a level of agreement and disagreement.
Isn't there a certain amount of that implied? After all, we're all here.
No, I don't. I want to approach it entirely differently.
Could you say it's how you do something?
No, you see, I'm not concerned with the doing at all.
No.
I'm only concerned with the spirit of doing.
Yeah.
The spirit, the feeling. And then what we do or don't do, then we can talk over, because we've got the real feeling of cooperation. But if we begin to talk about what to do, how to do, then you will disagree with me and I'll disagree with that person. So we'll be at each other's neck. I don't know, this is fairly clear, isn't it? First of all, we cannot live without cooperation. With the government, with the postman, with the... Cooperation is essential. No? You see, if I have not the feeling of cooperation, that feeling, then you will say the purpose of this place is X. And I say, no, I disagree with that. I want this place to be this. Or we will say this place has been bought for that purpose. Either you cooperate with that purpose or leave. Then there becomes contention, bitterness, and all the rest of it begins. This seems so clear.
Not so clear.
Okay. Let me put round the other way. We cooperate round a purpose, right? Generally.
Yes.
Generally. Or round a belief, or round a person who has a certain authority. No? An ideal. He says, I've got this ideal, this utopia, let's all work for it together. Hmm? You agree, and she agrees, we all agree. Hmm? But we haven't got the spirit of cooperation. We are functioning, acting together for a purpose. And when you disagree with that purpose, then you and I wrangle. But whereas if we have the spirit of it, we won't wrangle, we'll find out. Hmm?
When the purpose is to produce a new human being in ourselves and in society,
then we'll say, who is going to dictate?
no,
Who is going to tell us?
Because he said, don't do this, don't do that, but create the new human being. That is what draws them together.
Does it draw you? Does it draw you because you believe in creating a new human being?
Yes, sort of.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure.
No, Miss Pratt, just look at it very closely. You're going to be tripped presently.
Yes, but I mean, that is, obviously, this is a Krishnamurti school, forgive me.
No, don't, look.
Because what that chap says appeals to us. We feel that is the key, the guide to a new civilization, new culture, and a new individual.
Wait, before. You see, is that what is attracting you?
I would have said so.
No, don't. That's very, very superficial. Or
It doesn't seem superficial to me, because I know it means going quite deeply into myself, watching everything, watching all my motives and my actions and my
yes, I understand all that.
Sort of stuff, which I don't call superficial.
Look, Miss Pratt, this is what I want to look. Here we are, about 20, 40 of us, or 50 of us, young and old, with the different temperaments, with the different organic demands.
Yes.
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 Being in revolt with the world, which says obey,
Yes.
and I want to be free. Translating that freedom in my own way to my peculiar pleasures, how are you going to work together on that basis? I, a student, come here in a revolt from the world, hoping here there will be a lot of, God knows what kind of people, who will let me do what I like, who have said no authority. And I like the idea of no authority and doing exactly what I like. I haven't understood it, but I come for that. Now, how are you going to work with me who feed all these things? I rebel against you. You say we must all meet, have breakfast, go to bed at a certain time. I rebel because I say that's authoritarian, which is shall not, but we'll go into all that. How will you work with me? Throw me out? I've come here. And I've gradually assumed a position here. You follow? Gradually I've formed a gang around me. This is inevitable. A group who become the authority, as opposed to what they consider as authority.
Yes, I see that.
So how are you going to work with such people? Living all in a community. Hein? Comment? Qu'est-ce que vous dites? Allez. You tell me 100 times not to leave my shoes in the corridor. Come clean with clean hands to lunch. And I forget, I don't. I say this is free. Moment you criticize, I say come with clean hands. You say you're being authoritarian. Right? So how do you begin to create something in which everybody is cooperating? Do you bring that about through compulsion, through an ideology, through the assumption of an authoritarian group dominating the others? Right? How do you bring this about? When you say no authority, when you say don't work for a group, when you believe, you follow all these things. So we inevitably must come back to this question, to this point. What does it mean to cooperate? The feeling of cooperation, not about something. Right? Is that clear? Feeling of doing things together. Feeling that it is our place. When I see a piece of paper on the lawn, I'll pick it up. Not say, well, the gardener will do this. You follow what I mean? It is our play. How will you create this? Unless you have the spirit of cooperation, spirit of, let's put it the other way, spirit of intelligence. So I said, first don't emphasize the purpose or the object towards which we are all working for, but can we bring about the spirit or the feeling or the urge to cooperate, working together, doing things together? Unless this is understood very clearly, we're going to have trouble. We're going to say, well, who are you to tell me? I came here for something, and who are you to, who assume the authority to say it is not like that? Right? So, to eradicate that sense of antagonism, resistance, let's find out what it means to work together, not about something, the feeling of doing things together. Have I made my case clear? You have to. Please, if I haven't, I will discuss this. After all, if I was a father of a child and a wife and a house, I don't say, I cooperate. You follow? It's a thing together. I don't tell my wife, who are you to tell me how to mow the lawn? I will when I get irritated. That's quite a different matter.
Krishnaji, that's a different, is that a parallel? That's a defined situation with relationships already established. We come here...
Therefore we are establishing a relationship now.
Yes, but what what brings people either to
It's
cooperate.
fairly simple. What brings people together in a school? First a school, right? The teachers, the students, the staff, and so on.
Yes.
Or, in this case, the teachers, the students, and what we are talking about, what we intend to do here, and all that's involved. Not just the school alone. We want to have a place here where people will meet, discuss, intelligently work. You follow? Go into all that we have been talking about for 45 years. That's why we bought this place. Or somebody gave the money and we bought this place. We are ultimately responsible. So, to come back, how do you and I, rather not, have we the spirit of cooperation? The feeling of doing things together. Not when I like, I'll cooperate. When I dislike, I won't cooperate. I like to go to bed at 9:30, I will cooperate by going to bed at 9:30. But I won't cooperate with you going to bed at 10 because I like to sit up late. It is, you follow, it becomes so absurd. And you remind me day after day, for goodness sake, go to bed at 10. It gets boring for you and I get irritated myself. So how do we deal with this matter? Would you say, please? It's a very complex problem, this, you follow?
It means every individual's got to see the necessity of living really highly intelligently, each one.
Not only intelligently, but the feeling that it is
With the feeling
our
of-
work.
Yes, and you're caring for each
Our
other.
work, not your work. It's our house, our garden, our food, our school. You follow the feeling of ours. Our home. And when you don't understand that phrase, it's our home, then I say, well, it's our home, my home, I can do what I like. I can go out naked walking out of the door, right? Because it's my home. Who are you to tell me? Right, sir?
But to cooperate is to be very intelligent.
So how can we bring this about? That's my point. You see, we can verbalize this thing and yet not have it. But if we have it, verbalization becomes rather unnecessary.
Well, it's functioning then.
No, first, please, how are you going to have the spirit of this doing things together? You are doing it for me and I'm doing it for you. You are doing it for my sake, for my goodness, you follow? And I'm doing it how do we create this feeling? After all, a mother and a father and a child, and they're caring for, you follow? It's all, as Mrs. Imber said, it's a unit, a fixed unit, and you can do that. But here is also, why couldn't we have that feeling? You don't know me and I don't know you. We meet here. You may be utterly superficial or I may be. But we've come here and we say, let's do things together. How do we... Because without that, we'll form groups. We'll resist you. Right? When it suits me, I'll say, you're no authority, I'll work with. When it doesn't suit me, I oppose you by saying you're becoming dictatorial, authoritarian. You see, cooperation, really working together, implies a non-personal outlook. Right? That's therefore, do I cooperate on a principle or on my personal convenience, or have I the feeling of working together? You see the difference? Huh? Right? Because you see, if this is not understood, we shall never understand authority. Moment you tell me not to leave my shoes in the corridor, or to come with clean hands or clean feet to the dining table, I will immediately say you are assuming authority. Who are you to tell me? This is my home, right? And at home I do anything I like because I've got stupid parents. So how to eliminate all that kind of irrelevant assertions of authority? So to remove all that is to find out what it means to cooperate. My God, I don't know how to put it 10 different ways.
Maybe we don't understand what are irrelevant assertions of authority.
You don't understand?
No, maybe. Well, maybe.
What?
May be the case.
What? I don't quite hear what you said.
But you were talking about irrelevant assertions of authority.
Uh-huh.
Well, maybe we don't understand what is an irrelevant assertion.
And there, that's why I said remove all that. Start with the feeling of cooperation.
But how do we
It's
have
just
the
to
feeling
understand
of
something.
cooperation without seeing what is an irrelevant assertion?
You see, then I have to in a long list, make a long list of what are irrelevant things,
Yes, quite.
which would be
Yes,
endless.
Yes, because we wouldn't be finding out for ourselves.
Therefore, you
It's come
begin.
about because you've understood what it is to cooperate.
Therefore, you begin at the other end, right?
So you have the desire, the wish to cooperate, and that tells you things.
But that's not to say we can have the wish, we can have the cooperation inside of us, and then there will be assertions saying that that inside doesn't feel right. Then we can come together and talk it out if both of us have that feeling of cooperation.
That's right. That's all my point.
Mm.
Don't we have to begin first to see these assertions?
No, my lady, look, you are. Now look, I like that person, and I go with him, right? In a community like this, I say I like you, and I go with you. I agree with whatever you say, because I like you. On that like, I agree or disagree.
So we have to see that, surely.
No, wait, see what happened, just see. I like you, therefore all my activity is based on like and dislike, right? Now, she likes you, him, and she does the same. See what happens. And he does, you follow? So there are cross currents all the time going on there. Huh? You see that, don't you? Would that be cooperating? I do because I like you. And she does something because she likes him. So that half a dozen of us like and dislike, and our actions are based on that. How can we work together then?
We can't.
Therefore, find out what it means first, the feeling of working together. As I know I cannot work together if my activity is based on a personal like and dislike, as long as that exists, I cannot cooperate. Right? Have I? Have you? This feeling, I like you, and therefore let's form a gang between us two. You follow?
That's a bit radical, isn't it? As long as I have a personal life.
Therefore, go into it. Therefore,
we can't work
cooperation cannot possibly exist if my actions are based on
together. Choice.
personal like and dislike. My God. Huh? Can we build anything on that? Except build through authority. Say, sorry, I am the boss here, and put away your personal like and dislike, you're going to work. If you can't work, please leave.
But Krishnaji, it seems to me that we like certain people because we can work together with them.
Then what about me? You can work with me. Look at it. Huh? But he can't work with him. Right? I like you and you like me. Therefore we work together. And he, living in the same place, in the same house, he likes him and he doesn't like me. What do we do?
Well, the feeling is that we eliminate those we dislike.
So what does that mean, sir? So you eliminate everybody whom you dislike. Right? Where does that lead us to? You have only the people whom you like. No?
Well, I'm trying to get into the question of like and dislike more than just to say like and dislike, because I don't think that those of us who are here like and dislike people because of the color of their hair.
Go easy, go easy, go easy. Of course we do. Don't fool yourself. I like, being a man, I like you as a woman, right? I'm attracted to you. And so what happens? I don't like her. She's a married woman with a baby. Right? So I go with you and she goes, you follow? Therefore, togetherness completely comes to an end. Right? This is so simple, I don't understand this. So how can we work together as long as we are functioning on the principle of like and dislike, deeply or superficially? Right? You can't, can you? Huh? Be sure, don't say you afterwards you can't. Be completely sure you can't build anything together. In a free society, in a free group, if there was authority, if there was a profit motive, if there was a punishment and the rest of it, you will work together. Because you say, by Joe, I'll work with him because I'll get £100 a week and I'll build a house with that, so I'll cooperate. Right? So cooperation, working together, implies an objective appreciation of things we are doing together, non-personally.
Without chosen friends.
You will have your friends.
You have friends, it's just that the motive, I mean, it isn't...
I'll have my friend. I like her. I'll have my friends. But my friends are not going to influence me in my cooperation with something
But the cooperation is more important, really.
That's all. Not my friends.
No.
Not my wife and my children.
No.
Otherwise we reduce it to a profit motive, which the communists tried to do and couldn't succeed. Which all the, religious orders do. They promise heaven, service of Jesus, and that they all obey. Can we do the most impossible thing, right? Otherwise we become such mediocre, stupid group. I mean, a real artist, it is his call. He says, I want to paint. I'm not interested in making money and becoming famous. I love painting. In the same way, I love to cooperate. I really, personally, I do. If I have no problem, if somebody says, you're authoritarian, I said, sit down with me, I'll discuss it with you, I'll show you. Because you see, what's going to happen here, from last year's experience, from looking at all this, not I'm carrying last year's memories now, people are going to behave the same way as they did. That is, being told by Mrs. Simmons or by X, please go to bed at 10:30. And if they don't go to bed at 10:30, she has to tell them, remind them, and becomes a dreadful bore to her to tell people every time, wash your feet and wash your mouth, come tidy. But if I have the feeling of dignity, I do this naturally. I don't want to go on repeating this. You see, I could go on. You see, the austerity implies cooperation. Because in austerity, I won't let my personal feelings enter. Because I've understood that I cannot cooperate with anybody if I project my own personal idiosyncrasies. And that to perceive that demands an austere mind. No, sir? Huh? And in a permissive society, now that's going on, there is no, everybody does what he likes, or forms groups with those whom he likes. And then there is a tremendous breaking up of society. Go on endlessly. Is this clear to you? Huh? How can I discuss? Please, talk.
I think what's important, which you mentioned just before, is that when there's some kind of a disagreement for whatever reason, because there's the authority and something happened, is that immediately the people talk about it. If it's, in the spirit of cooperation, but right then, instead of, usually what happens is there's the disagreement, and then they walk away, and then it goes in the mind.
Right. So, and also, you see, sir, the difficulty in this is we're all very personal. Personal. And therefore, I'm apt to be hurt. Having been hurt, I don't want to expose my hurt. So I go to bed with my hurt, wake up with my hurt, and when I meet you the next day, I'm hurt. You follow? All that indicates a sense of personal attitude towards life. Right? And such a person cannot possibly cooperate in doing things together freely, without a profit motive. I don't know, this is simple enough.
Don't always try to discuss it straight away. It's no good trying to discuss with an angry man.
No.
You have to wait till his anger cools, and then perhaps you can.
Yes, I understand. But
the feeling of tackling it immediately. Yes, go ahead.
Well, it's, if you can see the person's angry, if you're clear in that, then you're not going to do it. Or maybe
Give them an interval.
Yes.
if you have to, or maybe if you're calm in yourself, you
reacts,
can present it. It can come across, and the person can see their anger, and then you can start.
Doesn't the personal come in anywhere?
What?
Doesn't the personal, I mean, you have preferences.
Of course. I like blue. You like green. You like that person. I like the other person. But I won't let my personal like and dislike or my personal prejudices enter when I'm working together, doing things together. I keep that out. Otherwise I can't. It's fairly simple, isn't it? I like you. Because I like you. But I'm not going to make you, we're not going to form a gang together to oppose everything, right? Or my dislike, my feeling for like you, I say, please, Wallace must be sit next to me, because I like him. You follow, this is so simple, too childish even. Huh? After all, maturity is that, isn't it? To look at things objectively. Keeping my own subjective reactions out for the time being. I look. I say this place has come into being with a group of people, and to build a new school, a new kind of education, new kind of individual here, you need to look at the thing objectively, which means that I mustn't project my personal hope. Here it's a lovely place, and I'm going to carve a hole in it and crawl into it. And after all, we are asking one of the most difficult things in the world. And I think one has to ask the most difficult thing, otherwise we become thoroughly mediocre. Right?
That is what we asked when we came.
Huh?
That is what we asked when we said we wanted to be here.
But people, you can't.
To cooperate was the reason about coming together.
I know, to cooperate, not the reason for coming together, to cooperate, to have...
Cooperate and to educate is to cooperate.
Yes, which is, do I want to be educated?
Exactly. And how do you set about it?
If
a person says, I don't want to be educated...
Then, wait, what does it mean? He doesn't want to be educated. It means he wants to live in his own particular little juice, in his own particular little pigsty.
Which is not to cooperate.
Therefore, what will you do with such a person? I say I come here to be educated, in the large sense of that word. And I find education means putting aside my personal fancies for the time. When I'm looking at working together, I don't say, well, you go into the garden, you follow him. I put aside my personal feelings. To learn to put away my personal feelings when we are doing things together is part of education. Now, how are you going to teach me that? When I say I must have my friends, I say, quite right, you will have your friends, but don't let your friends and yourself be influenced. You follow all that. What do you say, please? Those of you who say who don't see it, what's the difficulty? Do please talk it over. If you won't talk it over now, talk it over with somebody afterwards. What is your difficulty in seeing this very simple fact that we cannot work together when you project into it your personal like and dislike? Which doesn't mean that you cannot have your personal like and dislike. You mightn't like me, that's perfectly all right. But when we are doing something together, don't bring your dislike into it, right? I may be cooking with you, but don't throw me out because you dislike me. You follow what I mean? That's part of education. You are being educated here, you, as well as the student, right? Is that so? Is that what we want? That is part of our learning, together. I have learned this afternoon, I see it very clearly for myself that I cannot possibly cooperate with anything freely and happily if I project into that cooperation my peculiar neurotic feelings. Which means when I like you, Jim Wallace, I won't let that feeling of like prevent me from cooperating, doing things together, because he says, no, please, I don't like it here, I'm going away. Right? I don't like this setup. But I'll try and persuade him, but he's not going to persuade me to leave, because I think this is right. You follow? However much I might like him, he's not going to alter my feeling of building something together in a place where education is all important, right? Education in the right sense of it, not just academically, but seeing that when I project my personal feeling in a community like this, I am destroying that community. I am not being educated. I am being stupid. Sorry.
It's quite tricky, really.
Huh?
It's quite tricky because you have an unusually clear perception of what it is to lead an intelligent life.
No,
Whereas,
cooperation.
Whereas any perception that I may have turns out to be a neurotic tendency.
Therefore, you say, please, let's talk it over. You don't say, well, I'm against you, I'm leaving, you are authoritarian, you are a bully, you are, etc., etc. You talk it over with me.
Talk it over with you, perhaps, but each of us talking things over with each other is like the blind leading the blind, really, arguing with the blind.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Somebody may be half blind and say, look, it isn't quite like that, so you listen.
Yes, it is the capacity to listen, really.
Even the most neurotic, unless you are completely neurotic, then you don't listen at all.
That's your trouble, my difficulty.
Then you don't listen at all. You listen, you're not completely neurotic, which means locked up. So you listen. And listening is part of education.
Doris, you're surely not saying that we can't do it.
No,
No, of course not. But on the other hand, I'm not saying so easily that we can.
I said, Miss Pratt, unless you do the impossible, we become mediocre.
That's true.
Right?
Absolutely true.
Therefore, do it.
That's true.
I mean, after all, dozens and dozens of schools and communities have been started all over the world. Not by me or by you. The other people have started, dozens of them. They've all failed, economically and otherwise, because they haven't understood the first principle of working together, doing things together, which means no purpose. You follow? And we don't work together in order to carry out something. We have the feeling of working together, therefore we can carry out that. What time is it?
5 o'clock.
That's good enough, isn't it, an hour? Huh?
Doesn't have that.
Now, please, if you don't understand this, I really mean it, don't really understood, haven't learned, let us talk about it much more. So that we here have understood it. When a newcomer, like students, others come in, we say, look, this is it. Explain to them, talk to them, not me, you. You know, it is said among the educators, you must know this, when you can have a neurotic boy or a girl in a class, in a group of 16 or 12. If you have one neurotic boy among 12 or 16, it's all right. But if there are 5 boys and one neurotic, the neurotic wins. So that's what's going to happen. You know, sir? Yeah. Unless we are very clear, other people will take us over. So if this is part of our education, as well as the academic side of it, we will meet as often as you want to discuss all this till we have learnt the lesson.
We want it indefinitely.
No, I cannot indefinitely because you like my face or my gesture, but here is a thing we have got to do it.
It's nothing to do with your face, if I may say.
I'm passing that on. Not on account of my lovely blue eyes. That's what I mean.
Thank God you haven't got a beard.
No, I just take. Right, Miss? Please, let us, if this isn't clear, let's hammer it out. Otherwise, we're going to land in a mess again. No, not again, it'll land in a mess. I mean, somebody new will want to come, and you say, why should he come? Who is he to come? You follow? We don't say, now let's find out. Let's see if he wants to learn with us. You follow? The whole spirit then is different. Right, sir? Isn't that enough for today? Huh? Right? How do you stop this thing?